Hello viewers, it is your favorite spoiler from the recap room. For more updates, stay tuned and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. This week's episode, A Soldier's Heart, at last sheds some much-needed light on Julia and Henry Beauchamp's marriage, as well as the complex post-war repercussions that linger even during their most joyful early years. However, considering all of this time travel nonsense, it turns out that the most difficult time they will experience is not in the past but rather in the future, which is technically in the past. The old fox had thankfully been away from Castle Leathers for more than a month on business in Edinburgh, following Julia's affair with Lord Lovat to conceal the true father of her child. Julia feels her unborn child kicking for the first time when making an offering to please the faery-folk after receiving a tongue-lashing from Mrs. Porter for leaking valuable milk. This is a bittersweet indication that it will be more difficult for Julia to conceal her pregnancy. Knowing that Lovat will soon be coming to Castle Leathers, Julia deliberately performs a prank by rubbing herself with nettles to cause a rash, which detracts from her attractiveness and gives the impression that she is contagious. Those scenes from the 18th century are juxtaposed with what are technically post-war flashbacks to when Julia was pregnant with Claire, when neither husband nor wife were sure they were having a girl just yet, and Henry was looking for work after being released from the army. This week's episode does appear to focus more on the Beauchamps. His legal prowess has made him uniquely qualified to serve as the Grant's Bladier in the 18th century, especially in thorny clan business where tempers can run high. He even went so far as to write back to Lord Lovat, dismissing his earlier accusations that Ellen was not entirely virtuous, much to Brian's relief. To further sour relations with his enemies, Lovat intends to prove that Clan Mackenzie's eldest unmarried daughter is indeed tarnished goods, as he makes a private pledge to Brian. The dark-haired Englishwoman whom Mistress Hay has located for Henry as promised is something Henry is less prepared to handle. Contrary to his expectations, it's Seema, a brothel employee who has been told to comply with Henry's requests, not Julia. Even though he doesn't intend to accept her offer of more than simply conversation, all he wants is honesty between them. With tears in his eyes, Henry admits that his greatest worry is discovering his wife in their current location. However, under the eerie watchful eye of Arch Bug, Henry is called to collect the rents from Clan Grant's tenants, forcing him to halt his quest for Julia. Henry is not permitted to provide an explanation for the shilling increase in rent. Inspired by a recollection of Julia, Henry comes up with his own scheme to hold a lottery after noticing that the tenants are having difficulty paying the increase. He even gets into a fistfight with one of them that reminds him of his time fighting Germans in the trenches. Those who wish to enter more than once, boosting their chances of winning, must purchase more tickets. The person whose name is drawn will live rent-free for the next year. Ellen finds out at Leoch that she has been asked to go to the Beltane celebration outside of Inverness with Malcolm Grant. Ellen is firmly opposing the concept of carrying out this marriage at all, which is unfortunate for Colm. As she notes, what justifies her carrying out the marriage that was promised as a compensation for Dougal's hasty acts since her brothers had been designated to share the laird's responsibilities over Clan Mackenzie? Ironically, Ellen doesn't care much about her personal image and insists that Colm tell the Grants anything he needs to in order to rescue her. However, Colm presents his sister with a fairly ominous picture of the last individual to attempt to back out of a marriage contract with that tribe and then strangely vanish without a trace. Ellen is devastated that Isaac Grant would kill her for turning down his son, but Colm goes one step further and informs her that Red Jacob's extravagant spending has left the Clan Mackenzies penniless. According to him, they only have around a month left before they must begin selling off the family silver, and the ledgers he inherited as peacetime laird are a dreary affair. It isn't even an option to marry into the Grants in order to spy. Thankfully, Brian offers to go with Julia after she gets permission from Lovat to find an apothecary for her rash. As they gradually become more open to one another during the lengthy wagon ride, might this be the start of a new relationship between the two? Perhaps, but in the interim, Brian also needs Julia's help. She must convey a message to Ellen from him in return for keeping her safe from his father and eventually assisting her in getting out of Leathers. After entering Castle Leoch, Julia begs Ellen to meet Brian outside. Although she insists that Colm and Dougal would kill any Fraser they find on the castle grounds right away, Ellen gives in when Julia delivers a quintessential Outlander speech about not wanting to miss out on the love that people search for their entire lives. Brian and Ellen make a commitment to meet again during Beltane, which is nearby, before Dougal discovers them. Since Lord Lovat recently found out she is expecting, Julia's hunt for Henry is even more urgent as she makes the same promise to look for him at the next festival. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more updates.